So this video is going to be a bit of a quick startup guide for people who just want to jump straight into speedrunning 1% on Portal Nights. I'm not going to go through too much detail about all the finicky aspects that you'll need to know. This one's going to be a bit more of a overall guide, a kind of world by world walkthrough about what you need to be doing, like the key aspects of what you need to do to get to the worm boss. So for this run, I'm going to use a little bit of an older strategy that isn't really used on the top end of speedrunning this. But this strategy is very consistent and it doesn't rely on a lot of RNG. So you can keep practicing this until you get better and kind of understand how the game works and what each world requires from you. And then once you kind of get better at that, you can kind of look at the more modern strategies and more RNG kind of base strategies and kind of incorporate that into your runs afterward. But for now, this is a really good way of kind of getting straight into it and just having fun and exploring the world of speedrunning Portal Nights. So it's a very quick run, not too much gathering and things you need to collect and too much things you need to remember. Just a few materials that you need to remember to collect from each world. And then you just move your way from world to world until you get to the worm boss. So for all speedruns and Portal Nights, you always have to make a new character and a new world. Can't use any of the old characters or old worlds and bring in new stuff. You have to make a new world every time. Once you've made your world and you click confirm, I like to just spam X to skip the cutscene and the cinematics. There you go. Just to get into the run quicker. The first world, you want to kind of survey the area and get a good look of the land. And you want to identify a few landmarks, which is the portal that you're going to need to exit this world, and the tower or castle. Let's get you kind of like broken down tower and castle, enemies, and some resources. So we can see over here is the portal. We can see the tower over here. We can see some enemies, and pretty much all around us are the resources that we're going to need. So this is a really nice world. You want to stick in the vicinity of the items that we see. So enemies, tower and portal. I'm not too sure if I would venture off over in that direction because the time it's going to take me to get back over here is going to take a lot of time. So I would focus on staying as much as you can in the area of the key landmarks. Right, with that being said, first thing you want to do is you want to make yourself a pickaxe. Really useful tool, and we're going to need it later for a little bit of a trick that we're going to do. You need 4 stone and 2 wood. So we go ahead and grab that now. So stone has a very small percentage of dropping shards as well, and we're going to need at least 16 shards for the rest of this run. But for now, I'm just going to grab some wood. We need 15 wood. And I think the key to collecting wood is make sure you go for the bigger trees, the taller trees. You don't really want to... Oh, if he's getting in the way, if it's going red like that, it means an enemy's too close by. Let's go ahead and pop him out the way. And oh, great, we got 2 shards as well, so excellent performance there. So yeah, awesome. We've got our wood, and like I said before, make sure you go for the taller trees, not the smaller trees, because the smaller trees will take the same amount of time to hit, but they'll give you less stuff. They'll give you less wood, so you have to collect more trees. But if you get the big trees, they'll only take 3 or 4 before you get 15. All right, so now we've got our wood. We want to start... where did he go? I thought there was a guy around here. Anyway, disappeared. We want to start collecting some... portal stone shards. We need 16, like I said. So we just want to be going around looking for slimes, looking for parrots, just to kill and get as many shards as possible. The thing about shard drops is, on average, it's better to go to green and orange slimes. The parrots have more loot in their loot pool, which means there's a lower percentage of them to actually drop shards. So I found on average, it's actually more consistent to go with slimes. However, sometimes you're not given the luxury, or the slimes just aren't giving you anything because of the RNG nature of it. There's nothing you can do to guarantee shards with enemies. It's just completely random. And you gotta hope for the best a little bit. If you get a bit weak, the eggs that you get from parrots or the berries that you get from orange slimes, you can just take a bite of those and it'll slowly regen your health. So we're going to keep looking around. A little bit unlucky that's taking us this long. Usually it doesn't take as many slimes and parrots. But I think we've got enough now to begin our way to head to the tower. And hopefully we'll get 16 by the time we leave the tower. So the tower is important for, well, really one thing. I was going to say two, but the skeleton's not as important as the chest. The chest is super important. So you're going to fight this guy. You don't have to fight him. If you've got 14, then just come to this chest and don't fight him, as he'll just waste time fighting him. But if you're a little low and you don't want to take a chance, just go ahead and kill him. So this chest guarantees shards. It guarantees 2 up to 4. So it's either 2, 3, or 4. So we got 4 there, so super lucky. And it gives us gold, as you can see, 16 gold, and it gives us XP when we teleport back up here. So it's a really useful chest. It conquers a lot of demons that we'll need for the rest of this run. And we do a little bit of menuing here. So yeah, the chest, very, very useful item. Now we're going to do a little trick here of recycling stones using the stone pickaxe and the wand. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And then when we go through, we're going to quickly open up our menu, put in our attribute points, and select the Wand Expert on Talents. I really like to do, and I think you should get in the habit of doing, is using the time between teleporting, get a couple seconds to menu, and use that time to level up. It just wastes a little bit of time standing around leveling up when you could be doing other things. But because you won't be doing anything whilst teleporting from one world to another, I find it very useful to do that. We may have to kill one of these guys if he keeps spitting at us. Yep, that guy we're going to have to get rid of. Very unfortunate, but it's very RNG based. The worms, nothing you can do about it. But so same trick again. And there you go. And now the main aim is to get 14 rubies and 4 copper. So we kind of want to prioritize rubies because 4 copper is not too hard to come by. So you want to look for more nucleated ruby areas. But we don't really want to fight anyone. So we kind of want to stay away from any heavy enemy territory. So we want to upset the locals, essentially. So we're going to be just hammering away, hopefully getting nice little clusters so it doesn't take too long. There we go. That's 14. And I saw some copper over here. And I definitely saw some copper over here too. Hopefully this will be enough. 2, 3. We need 1 more copper. There it is. There we go. And we'll just move on to the next world. So that's world 2. There's nothing to just get through that process as soon as possible. Yeah, and just try your best to navigate around all the bad guys, the rude dudes. Fort Finch essentially will be exactly the same every time. Like, it's not random in this world. The characters will be in the same position almost all the time. So it's very easy to learn how to navigate this world. But before we go up to the portal, we need to grab an explosive bomb from Shelton. So there we go. That's why we needed the gold for the bomb. Let's try our best to avoid these guys. And then, like, quick little jumps up these stairs. And then roll our way onto Rudyard to go to this portal over here. This is the one we want. Do a little bit of menuing again. And then we're going to find our bomb. There it is. And now this time, similar strategy, but we're going to use the bomb instead of the pickaxe. I'm going to get all our stones back. And then we're going to move on to the next world. So the next world is incredibly RNG driven. When you start running and you start practicing, and once you've got the whole route down, you're going to find that you're going to have the most problems probably with this world the most because it changes every time. It's the most random. So the first thing I'd like to do is just kind of explore the area to see if I can find the key items. So you'll all spawn in front of Maria, and once you go down that hole, there's like a little bit of a dungeon they have to crawl through in order to get a mask. This is the temple. And then out there you can see is the portal. So that's actually the portal we need And I'll explain to you how I know that's the portal we need a little bit later on. For now, we're going to go down to this little dungeon, the spooky dungeon, and look for the mask. So we're going to look for a mask. Now, when you drop down here, you can have like several entryways. Unfortunately, at this specific section, there's no way to determine which way you should go. The only thing I can tell you is if you see a chest, it's a dead end. So look for ways that don't have chests, because that will be the way to go. A general rule of thumb with this dungeon is to stay on the surface, the top level, and only drop down to the bottom levels when you have to, once you've hit all the dead ends. If you keep that in mind, you can actually navigate this place pretty quickly. So if you see a chest, that's a dead end. If we look this way, we'll keep going, So we'll look over here. So it's the dead end on the right, so we have to go this way. And there we go. So you don't need to drop down unless you have to. And on this specific incident, we didn't have to get it. You'll get used to that the more runs you do. You will get used to it. It takes a little practice in the beginning, but you will kind of find your feet after a while. There is a bit of a pattern to it, even though it's quite random. Right, so we'll accept both the quests. And once we've done that, now we're going to start building. So we're going to go ahead and build our workbench. We're going to equip the mask, so that's out the way. I'm going to set these up, ready for the boss fight later. And we're going to put the workbench down and make ourselves an altar. Flip over and use all the rubies we have. Pop that down. And now we're going to put in the final portal pieces to get to the next world. Let's see if we can navigate this without getting caught. Yes, we did. Right, so how I know this is the correct portal, there's actually two portals, I don't know if I can see the other ones, two portals in this world, but how I know it's because it's in a little ditch, and there's this barrel here with the candle, and another barrel to the right of it. If you see those, then you know it's the correct portal. If there's no barrels, and it's not in a ditch, it's just like standing out in the open, it's absolutely the wrong one. You don't want to go there, it's a dead end, and it'll be the end of your run, it'll waste too much time. Right, if you see the entrance, go through the door. If you don't, you can easily hammer your way through. Now, you will notice that you can't actually see it, but it actually is on my head. This is just a visual bug sometimes, that when you equip from the hotbar, it doesn't actually show the mask. But as you can see, it actually is on my head. So I'm going to trade with Zebo. Thank you, Zebo, for the key. And what I like to do here is I like to use the menu and the map and quickly zip back to where all our stuff is, and hopefully by then everything would have been completed, which it has. For the extra levels, to get to level 3, you go and complete this final quest, and if you need the extra levels. Obviously we got to level 3 a little bit earlier, but that's because we had to kill a little bit more slimes in order to get the shards that we needed. Sometimes this run will always get you to level 3. If you go and do the quests that I've shown you, it will always get you to level 3, so you don't have to worry about it. That's what I was talking about before, about eliminating the RNG. So grab your dust, and you're gonna make a wand of fire and a fireball. And then in this time, this is when I would start menuing and start to prepare for the boss fight that's going to happen. So let's go ahead and grab that. And that's everything that we need. And now just hop over to the map and go to the next world. And then again, menu, and everything's an intellect for this run. I should have mentioned that earlier, but I think if you're following along, you'll be able to see that everything's on intellect. We want the damage, the extra DPS for the worm boss. So for this world, you wanna, you'll always be inside like a little hole, little ditch in the ground. So I usually kind of just look up and see if I can find any aspects of like stone looking things. There's two stone objects in this world, which is the tower there, you see the tower there, and the portal that we're gonna need, the boss portal. And this world is a little bit finicky when it comes to the, like looking around. It can be quite awkward, as you're seeing already, but I think it's over here, because I think I see some stone stuff over here. So let's go ahead and get there. Excellent, so it's in there. So it's a little bit tricky to see, but you'll be able to find your way through. One thing I want to mention in this game is you can put blocks in from very far away. So if the portal is in a very awkward position, or maybe there's a bunch of enemies that are in your way, just remember that you can actually put the port piece in from a distance and then use your map to teleport to the next world. So get used to using the map to teleport sometimes instead of using the portals directly. Because sometimes you'll be in a very odd situation where it might be hard to get to that specific boss portal. Right, so for the worm, in terms of the actual fight, very similar to the casual run, so the normal run. But there's a few optimizations that we're going to do. So the first thing you're going to do is get really close to the edge, and we're going to roll back after he spits out the goo. The reason behind this is because the quicker he spits the goo is the quicker he gets to spawning the worms. So we want to go ahead and do that as fast as possible. For damage, you want to hit him straight away, but you don't want to fireball until his head hits the ground. That's going to give you the most damage out of your fireballs. You're going to time it, so you want to keep your eye permanently fixed on the cooldown of fireballs, and you're going to time it. Every time it's free, you're going to hit it. In this first phase, you're going to use 3. In the second phase that we're on now, we're only going to use 2 fireballs. So we used 3 fireballs the first round, but we only got enough mana for 2. So a lot of this fight is about mana management. Very tricky statement to say, mana management. So we're only going to use 2. And then unfortunately we won't have enough mana for the third one, but that's okay. So after he goes immune, we're going to use a mana potion that we got from Maria from the quest. I'm going to rinse and repeat. Get as close as we can. And there we go. Find the tail, lock onto it, move on. And the head drops down, then use the fireball. Just keep an eye on that cooldown on the fireball, making sure you use it as soon as possible. And get nice and close to the head because the time it takes. Now, even though we have mana, we're going to use another potion. It's because we're not going to need a full mana for the next round, so I'd rather use 3 fireballs instead of 2 for this round. Roll out the way, wait for it to hit the ground, use the fireball, we'll use 3 again. Keep an eye on that, get close to the head, reduces the time for the fireballs, increases DPS. Now we have just enough mana to kill the boss. We might not even need the 2 fireballs, might just be 1. And it's the last one now. Excellent. And now all we need to do is see out the run. And there you go. And that was the worm boss. And the last thing you need to do to make sure is you need to exit to menu after you see Evil Vanquished. There it is. And you need to see the save file. So make sure you exit to menu, you click the play button, and we see the save file of that character. If you quit the video early, unfortunately the run won't count. So we'll just do that now. There we go. And then that time there will be the time you submit because the category does in-game time, not real time. So 40 minutes 20 would be the time I'd submit for this run. So hopefully that gave you a kind of a quick rundown of like what you actually need to do for the worm percent, what's the actual kind of strategy behind it. It's obviously an older version. It's kind of changed a little bit as time's gone on, not too different, but it's changed in different ways. But that's a bit more for advanced level and dealing with more RNG based things. This run's very controlled and you can repeat it and get used to it and get used to running it. And once you've got the confidence and your times are getting lower and lower and you're really determined to get that time down, you can use and adopt more of the modern strategies that we use today. I will be making a little bit more of a detailed worm percent run, really going into the fine details of the game and how it works and everything like that. That'll come a little bit later, but for now, this is a quick video just to get you running from the get-go. All right, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was useful.